What?
Just keep talking. Yeah,
Oh,
you want to check. You want to check in what?
well, I wanted to check in, like I just wanted to check in between the two of us and like see how we're both doing.
I'm
I
doing
have
fucking terrible,
started
but yeah.
a new fashion trend here. I just started it yesterday and it's two baby clips on both sides. It's a new.
You're bringing back a trend that was around 24 years ago.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
doing it like even closer to my part,
Oh my
like in
god.
an extremely dorky kind of way.
Yeah.
And
Total.
this is
You need braces. You need braces and a pair of Ray-Ban black rim glasses. And you're all
full
set.
dork.
Full
Yeah.
dork with the buck
Well,
teeth. Got to put those in too. It's funny
yeah.
you're a
Go on.
makeup artist, right? So like you sometimes have to like add things to a person's face to make them kind of like, not be as pretty. Like, does that happen? Like, do
Oh
you have to
yeah.
like
Oh
unpretty
yeah.
someone?
Oh
That's so
yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I've had to unpretty people a lot. Or like I've had to make people look like they're dying, like they are
Ooh,
dead. Like they have, infectious
man.
diseases. Yeah. Like their faces got burned off. I mean, I gotta make people look bad. Yeah, I honestly prefer making people look good, but it can be really fun if they let you have creative freedom, you know. I've made myself, look crappy before, like just doing funny
On
stuff.
purpose? On purpose
No,
or by mistake?
like for tutorials and stuff like
Hmm.
that, and
Ooh, I
then like
see.
I practice on my own face a lot. Like if I would get a new job and they wanted like a specific type of injury, like I had to replicate the injuries that were given to OJ Simpson's wife. And so I did a bunch of
Oh,
research because it's a real injury. I wanted it
yeah.
to look real, like, true to story, like which side of the face it was supposed to be on and, like where the majority of the damage was and where the face was cut open and, stuff like that. So I had to look at those photos, I had to study it, and I had to have it ready for the following day, so I just did it on my own face real quick because I've got, everything there in a face, and I wanted to kind of do it before I'm doing it on a stranger. um and then I mean, a lot of the times you just whip stuff out because you've done things that are similar to it, but this one I cared a lot more about. I realize this camera is kind of like way over here and dark.
It's fine. It's kind of strange because like it's like when you're doing this makeup, you're basically like stating that you're creating something that is an illusion. You want it to look as if it's an actual like bruise, injury, damage, any of those things. And I love special effects makeup specifically because it's like it's kind of a form of art where you're painting. You're adding on the silicone, the mesh, the dry paints, the more liquid paints.
Yeah, I there's a lot that goes into it. Like when you're doing injuries, there's continuity. So the concept of like the injury drying up, the injury healing, the injury changing throughout the whatever story you're telling. I mean, even people's hair growing, as time has passed. There's all kinds of things. Like, I mean, when you want to tell a story, you want to tell a story about like somebody who, is going through a rough time or something, and they've just been like staying in their house a whole bunch, and like maybe part of your storytelling would be though, like they grew a beard where they were when they were hanging around inside of the house. And so they're hanging around inside the house, the beard's getting longer and longer and longer. So like they want to film that whole thing on one day. And like it's your job to like let the beard get longer. And then, it's like, well, how am I going to do that? Well, you basically have to have the guy completely clean shaven and then just fake the beard getting longer. And then then you have the freedom you're not restricted by the beard because you can change it at any time with filming. So if they want to film something that happened forever ago, you take the beard totally off. They want to film something that happened while he was going through the rough time, you put it back on whatever stage they want. So it's interesting. Guys will try to be like, should I shave today or should I let it grow? And I'm like, just shave it. Like we're gonna fake everything about it. Unless
Fake it till you make it, honey. That's the
the
point of the story.
unless the production is like down to give time in between things. Sometimes they call back for stuff that's going to be filmed as a different period or whatever else. But I mean, I've had people say me like, oh, we need to film him dead, we need to film him alive, we need to film him dead, we need to film him alive. And you're just watching the stuff on and off over and over again, and it's like, your actor's starting to get a little irritated because you keep putting this stuff on and off of them. I mean, I've had the opportunity to schedule with directors. Like if you work on the schedule together, and well, if they're a smart director or if they have a good assistant director, they'll catch it, because it saves the production time. So then also they can get more done in one day, aka less money spent. So everybody's into that. They don't want to be spending money,
Mm-mm,
especially on makeup.
mm-mm. It's kind of a weird segue because you were talking earlier about drag, and drag
Yeah.
is kind of the example of create something that is completely not real. There is no tits, there's no hips, there's no curves, there's no lines. It's all made. The
Well, you say create something that's not real. I mean, there's still a real person
you know
there.
it's still a real person, but drag is not supposed to be like drag is supposed to be exaggerated. It's supposed to be exorbitant. It's supposed to be like a performance. You're
Yeah.
going out as a performer. You know,
Yeah.
you
I was trying to think about the very, very, very first time I saw a drag queen. And I couldn't 100% lock down the very, 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 very first time I saw a drag queen. I guess I'm just gonna have this cord in front of my face.
it
But
happens.
I remember some of the first times I saw a drag queen. I kind of remember asking my parents, like, oh, so wait, underneath all that makeup and stuff, there's a man. And my parents never said anything bad about it. Like to them, it was like, oh yeah, people do that. Like some guys, and it was always discussed that there are men that do it that are not gay. There's men that do it that are completely straight. That was a thing for a long time too, is when I was younger, is that there were a lot of men with children and stuff like that. And I mean, you can have children obviously if you're gay, but I was saying they led a totally straight life and they would do drag. And I mean, they're entertainers. People would do it for money.
Well,
There's a lot of reasons.
the history of men dressing up as women in performances goes back hundreds of years ago. In the days of Shakespeare and the like,
I mean,
those
that's different.
no,
I'm sorry,
it
but Shakespeare is different
it's
than
different.
drag.
It's different,
But
but
it
it
was a person on a stage,
as
as a
a
different
man,
gender.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a man portraying a woman on stage, and it was solely because it was deemed inappropriate for women to pose female roles, which is interesting.
Well, they didn't want a woman on a stage. Only men were allowed to be actors. Women were not allowed to be actors.
No,
That was not a thing. So that's why the men had to play the women. The men had to play everyone. So a man in drag as an actor back in Shakespearean time can be related to drag in ways. I can see how people would say that. There are also differences in the reasons why the
they're
person
doing
was
it.
on the stage.
Yes, Yes.
But I mean, I don't know that. There could be like an individual that just really inside wanted to dress like a woman, and that's why he was a Shakespearean actor. It could be the same exact situation, right?
I
Like,
mean,
I
we
don't
weren't
know.
alive in the 14, the whatever 1500s, whatever it was.
We don't
So
know.
we
I
don't
think it's
know.
15s. Yeah.
1500s, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Mm.
But yeah, I was just trying to think of the very first time that I saw a drag queen. There was a, and probably still is, an absolutely incredible drag queen, um, who makes my first impressions with drag queens in person. Her name is Champagne Showers, and I'm pretty sure, at least at the time, she went by her. But I don't know anymore. I haven't heard anything of Champagne Showers in a while because I don't live in Iowa. But Champagne Showers is the very best drag queen in Des Moines, Iowa. Like, I believe that they would have drag shows. Oh, I think somebody hired Champagne Showers for a party. And that was maybe one of the first times that I like saw a drag queen, like, holy shit. Like, and it like blew my mind. But I believe I was like 18, maybe I was in high school. It might have been like, I don't know. My sister used to take me to like pride things. I know that I had seen people in drag in parades because like we would have our Iowa State Fair every single year, and there would always be a float that was like a LBGTQ float. And this was all the way back in like 1994, you
Okay, so for
know.
any of our viewers that are unfamiliar what Carissa is saying, Carissa is from Iowa. Iowa is in the Midwest. Now, as a Northeast person, I grew up in New York. We view the Midwest as kind of, kind of backwards, laid back, very red. You know,
Well,
I mean,
Iowa's a little bit different because Iowa has this like extremism when it comes to letting people have their rights. So that is why people are allowed to get married gay all the way back in the early 2000s, maybe earlier than that. That's why people were allowed to escape slavery in Iowa. Like they're like really, they're always kind of like, no, people should be able to like that's a human right, you know? So I see that in Iowa. I also see a lot of things that aren't that great, and there's a lot of like, complaints, but we always had like growing up, we always had like really, really good like healthcare for teenagers. We had Planned Parenthood, and it was all like funded by this one lady, who basically just put all of her life's work and family money into making sure that everyone in the community had Planned Parenthood. Her name was Susan Knapp. She's, I mean, her
she didn't
name's on
take a
everything.
she didn't take a nap though. But
It's a Knapp.
ah,
The Knapp family, I mean, their name is on everything in Des Moines. Like they created like a whole bunch of community stuff. Probably a bunch of tax write-offs. I don't really know. But she's the reason that like a whole bunch of people didn't have babies in junior high and high school. But drag queens, I mean, Champagne Showers was just blew my mind. Um, really tiny little woman just dancing around like holy shit, you know? And then when I moved to Iowa City, we used to go to this studio. It was called like Studio 13, and they would do drag night, and people would come and compete, and we would watch the drag queens, and then after the drag queens were over, we would have dance time, and we just like take over the dance floor and dance. But I drag has always been a part of my life. So it really bothered me to see people attacking it this past week. Honestly, that's how I felt. I felt like people are just like attacking it and misunderstanding it,
okay,
and
here's the deal.
it bothers the fuck out of me.
Here's the deal. I was recently watching the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about Drag Story Hour. Okay, And there is
So,
this.
so what happened here? Everybody, this is what sparked everything. Is that a drag
I,
queen read a book to children? Is that, oh my God, how fucking terrible.
the
I'm
story is,
sorry, but is that what happened? Because I don't watch
yes,
the news.
kind of. Well, I'm telling you what I heard. I don't know
Viewing
what's gone.
people.
I don't know what's gone on the news. I don't give a fuck what goes on the news. I
Aren't
don't
there
listen.
shootings at schools? And we're worried about someone reading a book? I can't.
So
Like,
okay, so here's the reality. The reason why Drag Story Hour was made was for gay couples, gay, lesbian, trans couples, whatever, queer couples in general that had kids. And they wanted them to be in a more, you know, queer, non heterosexual environment. Also, so someone thought of a really great idea. I forgot the name of the drag queen in San Francisco to read stories to kids in drag, and be able to kind of like give them that opportunity as well. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's a really great way for gay parents that are queer to really like allow their kids to be a part of something. And the
I mean,
twist,
I think it depends on what's in the book and, and
it's
whatever
a
else.
kid's
But
it's a kid's story hour. Like it's in a library for Christ's sakes.
well, I don't
Like
know what's in this book, and I mean,
they're
if
children's books, honey. That's what they're reading them.
just kind of like a book that kind of just says like some people have this parent, some people have two parents, some people have
Sometimes,
one.
yeah, it could be
Like, is
something
it
like
just
that.
kind of like, like not everybody's the same, like that kind of cute, like, message to accept other people? Is it just like that?
It's about giving the message to these kids, to be more open, have that more.
Oh, God forbid. Oh,
Look, I'm one of those people that I believe that it's really healthy for a kid to be in an open environment because there's a lot of
yeah.
things that they can learn and a lot of questions that they can ask. The thing that Joe Rogan was talking about is, and I didn't really know this was a thing, supposedly there are parents that are taking these kids to like drag shows and these drag queens that are stripping down to their knickers. Okay, so for all of you Americans, that's underwear or panties, whatever the fuck you have you. And you're like, this is an eight
Well,
year old. This is an 8 year old, and you're down in your panties. Your dick is being taped to
yeah.
the back. Like,
But not
hello,
all drag shows are
no,
sexual like that.
no, 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 no,
Like a
no.
lot of drag shows are like not stripping. I have seen a lot of drag shows where they'll like, you know, take off layers and people throw money, and that's been a thing too. But
Burlesque.
also I've seen people just lip sync and dance and people throw money. I've also seen it where there's no money involved. But I feel like the taking off the clothes part and getting like really really undressed is maybe not good with children at any age. But I
No,
don't have children, and I don't know these people's relationships with their kids and the conversations that they have. And I know that my sister was really good with my nephew, and she exposed him to a lot of different types of things at young ages, and he turned out great. And she had really great open communication with him about things. I think that that could be really essential, like how you talk to people about it. And also, like, it's this own parent's choice to take their kid there, like they're the ones going
yeah, but
there. Like,
like we gotta okay, we gotta wake up and smell the flowers. All right, the woke environment. Okay,
Wizoke.
no, woke, WOKE.
No, Wizoke.
Oh my god, you're not gonna.
Let you talk? No,
No,
never.
never. Never.
Go
But
on.
woke culture is a prime example of where so many of these problems happen, especially in the queer community, because it creates this environment of where you cannot speak up. You can't say that you don't feel comfortable with this. You can't open yourself up to a conversation about, if this is okay, if this is not okay. The thing about drag shows is I'm not one of those people that necessarily going to say that it's an adult thing. I'm not going to necessarily say that it's a kid's thing. All I'm going to say is there's a there's a place, there's a setting and a place.
Why is it the government's choice?
It's not the government. I mean, fuck the government. I'm talking about people in general. I'm saying in general for people that, if I mean, there also has to be a line, honey. There's gotta be a line. These are
I
kids.
think that the line was there. I think that
No,
people
it's
already it's we haven't had to have government installed rules for fucking ever. Like the line was already there. For some reason it needs to now be government enforced. And it's like I was never taken to a drag show at a super young age and watched a guy like completely undressed and there was no rule in place and it didn't fucking happen. I don't know if it happened to other people or like whatever else, but I'm just saying like there didn't need to be a rule there for it not to happen to me. And I don't like Big Brother like making rules about like fucking everything. And I just
yeah,
kind
but we
of
can't, we can't, honey. You can't fucking change that. Okay, you can't change it.
well,
That's just
no, I can't change it, but that doesn't mean that I can't state that I don't like it.
no. 100%.
But
But
yeah, I don't feel like you're not hearing me. Like I know that you hear me. And I know that, but that on a podcast we both kind of we try to show the different perspectives that people have and things like that. So,
I have a
like even
very
though I get like a little heated right now, I know that you respect my opinion and I respect yours and
yes.
we understand each other. So I don't feel any like I really don't feel any problem with people, making decisions about this kind of stuff and whatever else. I don't want people to be hurt by it. I don't want people to feel alienated. I don't want people to feel wrong for doing drag, like I worry that it adds to hate. It adds to that's different. That's wrong, or something like that. And it's like there's nothing
Right.
wrong about drag. Like it's not wrong. And I feel like I hope that this doesn't make people think that or people don't use this as like validation. There's a whole other aspect of this that I'd like to touch on too that really bothers me, but it's your turn, bro.
Well, there's no turns here. We're not like playing a game of fucking sorry, you know?
I need to roll a joint. I don't know. I saw somebody like post this meme that showed little girls in pageants,
Oh God.
and then it also showed
I don't like
men
pageants. You know
men in
this.
drag.
You know this about me. I do not. I'm one of those people that like I don't like pageants. I think it's I just think it's distasteful in my personal opinion.
Well, you know my history with pageants.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
You
So
were adorable.
they're relating this it's a picture of little girls in pageants and then it's a picture of men or people in drag and it has the two next to each other and it says like, oh, so it's okay to sexualize little girls but it's not okay to sexualize like men or drag
Oh my God.
and whatever else. And I was like, hey, do not bring me into this. Like you don't know anyone who has been a little girl in a pageant, do you? Like don't use me as your opposing example. Like that's fuck you. I loved dancing. I loved being on stage. I loved putting on costumes. I loved wearing makeup. I loved doing my hair. I loved practicing with my mother. I loved traveling around the country. I loved practicing routines. Like, I liked to compete. That was what I liked to do. And I do understand that a lot of drag queens enjoy putting on makeup. I know that there's a lot of differences between me and drag queens and little pageant girls and whatever else, but I know that there were a lot of things that I enjoyed that they also do enjoy, which is like beautiful fabrics and gorgeous colors
And
and sequins.
sequins.
I know,
I
like,
love sequins.
I loved being in pageants. As much as it had negative effects on me, it was incredible.
It's
Like,
the
I
glam.
loved being in dance. I love the glamour of it.
It's a
I
glamour.
did. I love the freaking dresses. I love all the sparkly shit. Like, I loved getting ready, like I loved being prepared. Like, I think that it was good for me. My mother put me in pageants because I was soft-spoken. I was quiet. I didn't know how to articulate. So she put me in there because they judge you on how you speak. They ask you questions and they wait for your responses. They do interviews. They have you
Oh
come
my
in,
god.
you do an interview where you talk. It did. It helped me talk. Like, it helped me learn how to compose myself, represent myself with my own words. So there are a lot of good things that come out of pageants. I think there's probably other ways that I could have learned to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
But it just where I belonged. It was good for me. And I don't like it when people bash on pageants, especially when they're gonna, like bash on a pageant in order to like defend drag when like I mean, a lot of pageant girls love drag. Like, a lot of people are supportive. Like, what the
Well, all
fuck?
all I said was is that for me personally, I find it distasteful because of how women, especially
Yeah.
younger women, are being represented and treated. That is my perception. And again, going back to the point is the reason why I have a problem with kids being in an adult show, an adult drag show, is it's not a place for kids. That I'm probably gonna get some hate over here, and it's okay. I'm one of those people that it's none of fucking teachers or the fucking school's business if a kid is gay. None of their fucking business between them and their parents.
I think that it is good to create an accepting environment.
100%, but you're not the parents. You're just the school. You're the educators. There's a very big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. It's my mother is a kindergarten teacher, and she was very much like school, especially elementary school, is a place for learning letters, numbers, that was her whole thing. And I was just like, okay, cool. But I kind of think that like making this rule about drag, you have to be 18 to see drag, is such overkill for what happened. I mean, I haven't read a single fucking article about anything, but like my first response was just like, wow, like I think everybody went a little above and beyond. Like 18 years old? Like I no, TV 14 is like a thing. Like no. I mean, I was thinking like here's my crazy statement. The
Right.
first time that I really probably saw a drag queen was on the television, okay? And the TV is right inside your fucking house with your goddamn family, okay? And that's where your kid is going to see a drag queen. And they're going to see it way before the age of 18, and they're going to see everything on that TV. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with TVs, but I'm just saying they're going to see it. Like, what is this? Like, you'll see it on the TV. You see everything on there. And if you don't see it there, you see it on the internet. Everybody's seen a drag
It's
queen
it's the
way
same.
before 18.
Okay, so this is this is a little government 101. It's the same thing with the sex industry. See, the sex industry has this labeling on it. It's dirty, it's filthy, it's disgusting, it's bad, it's wrong. To be very honest with you, I yes, there's problems, for example, such as pimps and people that are abusing these sex workers and stealing shitloads of money. Those are awful people and fuck them. But I'm talking about like these people that are actually working to make a living. Like, I don't I don't see them any different. We both have jobs. We have different types of jobs, but we both have jobs, you know? And
I
it's
know you're
like,
you're very pro sex work. I support individuals as people
I do
in
too, but
what
what
they
I'm the
want to
point
do,
my
you
point I'm
know?
trying to bring out is that just as you have these different peoples that are working in these different industries, you have these people that are performers and they're working as drag queens or drag kings or whatever the case may be. These people, these workers, for them to come in and interfere and say, okay, these kind of people can come and see, these kind of people, that's kind of crossing the line. It's
What you
like
think because it cuts down on their profits? Because now it's only I think that not all drag queens were showing something that was sexual. I mean, are we just now saying that any drag queen at all is a sexual thing? Do you remember? Well, this drag queen probably was kind of sexual, but do you remember that drag queen that was friends with Freddie Mercury? The Japanese drag queen with the bright yellow hair. Do you remember that? I wish that you could remember. There was this drag queen that was like really, really close friends with Freddie Mercury. I don't remember the name, but was a famous drag queen from Japan and had this like cartoonish bright yellow hair and like lived like for a really, really long time and was like respected in Japanese culture. And like nobody really like treated it like it was like this really terrible like sexual thing. Like she just or they were just like, just a person that was kind of like a very elaborate, like showy individual that had a lot of like feminine
chic.
androgynous beauty, almost like a supermodel kind of identity. Um and a designer and artist. I don't know. I just kind of feel like not every type of drag is like sexual. Like there's times where it's just like an expression of like this person. I know that sometimes it is extremely sexually charged and maybe even sometimes that's intentional, and I think that's fine too. I feel like a lot of the first times that I saw drag, it seemed more music, dance, and beauty oriented than it did sex. Like it seemed kind of like flamboyant, but it really seemed like it seemed more like a tribute to the artist that the person was impersonating. Like if they're doing like a Whitney Houston or if they're doing like a J Lo, it seemed really like focused towards like their passion of dance and the style of Madonna or the style of J Lo or the style of this
Well,
person. Like
not Madonna now.
it didn't seem sexual.
Madonna now is, honey, that's a conversation we'll have another time.
Well,
Yes.
I have seen a drag queen do a really good like a virgin, you
Like a
know,
bird.
like in a wedding gown, like rolling around looking just like Madonna. Like, and that was sexual. And I was over 18, and it's just like I've also seen drag queens do things that are not incredibly sexual. Like I saw some really, really cool drag queens in France. Um, I saw some really cool drag queens in Canada that had like a more of like a historic idea to them. Like they seem more like women from like a different time period, like all dressed up, with like old school 1800s dresses and like fans and like I mean there's all kinds of different types of drag. Like I don't get people. I don't know what the fuck's going on down there, but it sounds fucking prejudice to me.
Where?
In Tennessee, where they're doing all the complaining about all this shit.
Honey, it's the South.
I don't like it. I need a lighter. I'm sweating like a bitch.
Honey, that's good. Means all the toxins are coming out. All the toxins. Baby, be spewing all over the place. Wow.
Where's my
Carissa is trying to find a lighter. As
lighter? I had one. I got it.
a ah, indeed. Well, I have been
I love that somebody was like, I love that you started the video with your chair in your shoe.
Well, it's kind of interesting because when we'll notice things, we'll notice little imperfections, like little odd things that kind of come along. I'll give you an exact example. I'm one of those people like I'll notice a brick that's missing in a building,
Yeah.
or like why is one side like this shade of green and then the other side is kind of faded? What I'm leaning in towards is there are some drag queens, specifically burlesque drag queens. Love burlesque drag queens. Oh my god. Their whole like performance is this whole like show. It's erotic, it's romantic, it's kind of bluesy, it's got a little bit of swing to it, but it's got like this, I don't know, it's got like all of these different pieces like, oh, why is it there? Oh, what's there? It's it's so hard to like see. This is the problem. Like, you try to have a conversation with these people, okay? Try to have a conversation with these fuckers that live out in fucking Tennessee with their goddamn Dodge Ram pickup trucks, okay? And try to ask them if they can understand there is different cultures within one type of category, and they'll look at you like you're fucking nuts. They don't know what you're talking about. What do you
Well,
mean?
some people just think that a man just dressed like a woman in general is inappropriate. Like they don't even care if it's a
I want to see a man
sexual.
in tits, honey. I want to see a man have jiggly wiggly tits.
I know,
Jiggly
I
wiggly
remember as
tits.
like a child wondering, like, how do they do the tits? Like, how's that work?
Stuffing.
Um, yeah. But I mean, like, you'd see like actual like cleavage. And this is like before like silicone, so they
Make
like tape this like skin just like over and over and over again. And then like, like contour like a whole
a
bunch.
line, yeah, to give the illusion.
Yeah, drag was always really interesting to me because of makeup. Um, I did drag makeup on one of my friends in high school, and then I did drag makeup for people when I was in college. Um, I've helped drag queens create looks in the past and stuff like that, and I watched a lot of drag queen videos on how to do makeup and stuff like that. And I I don't know. I mean, David, why like if you were in charge of like scheduling, the person to come read the book, like why would you, say like, "Oh no, we're not going to do that here."
I think again, it's the setting, it's where it's being done. For example, if you're okay, let's be realistic, all right?
School's
If
not optional, like school's a requirement. You have to go
no,
there.
of course you
Like,
have to go to school's require is school is school is a requirement. But what I'm trying to get at is that if you have these kids that are going to these schools, okay, and if you're in an environment where the public library does not feel comfortable to have a drag queen that is not doing any sexual acts, all she's doing is coming in a cute cowboy outfit, you know, with like maybe like, I don't know, a horse puppet or maybe a cow puppet or something, and then read a story to these kids.
well, what's she gonna do with that cow puppet, David?
She might do
What's she gonna
naughty, might do
what's
naughty,
she
naughty, naughty things to the cow puppet, to
what's
the
she
little
gonna
four little udders.
little horse puppet?
Oh my god, you got
This
two
little
animals,
horse
honey.
puppet.
You got the horse puppet and the cow puppet, and they're coming together. Oh my god, they're touching. Ah! Oh.
The thing is, it's still a human being reading a book,
Yes, it
like
is.
I mean, why we're so focused on how the human being is dressed. I just, I mean, are we, it just doesn't seem quite right because, like, I could walk in there dressed like a freaking lumberjack with a beard painted on my face and walk around with a really low voice and read a book, and people would be like she's a little strange. Um, but like, would it be sexual? Like, why is it sexual? Because it's a bunch of makeup and, like, is it because you're impersonating a woman? Is that what makes it sexual? Is it now sexual because it's a woman? Like, I get a little like, ooh, okay, there's
Shook up.
I can use everything against everybody, when it comes to this. Like, I know that it's not fair. We all know there's something a little off about it. It But that's why I asked you, like, why would you not schedule the person to come and read?
I wouldn't schedule somebody if they would come in and they'd be like this. So like I've had like this bit like where my tits are like just hanging out. Okay. I'm just like I just like have like these bits like I'm just like totally in the crowd and like totally getting all of it. If you're the I'm not trying to make fun. What I'm trying to like get at is like if you're gonna come in with like the attitude of like you're like kind of the bitch queen, you here to make the money, you that's not it's not realistic. Okay, that's not the type of queen that is going to be working in that environment. I think no nos would be somebody that is not great with kids. I think pluses would possibly be maybe somebody that has a background in education. You know, some
Yeah, that
gay.
would be a positive. Like, if it was like a person with a background in education, like, that's a positive. I don't know. My one friend, she dresses up, you can't tell what she is, boy or girl, you know?
I make a beautiful woman. I've 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 scared quite a few of people at bars. I will tell you.
You're an intimidating woman, is what you are. It's
Yes.
like, oh my God, like, she's like dressed to the nines. What do I do? What do I say?
So I had a few years ago. I dressed up as I'm dead serious. I dressed up as a Russian hooker uh for Halloween.
That's not
And
insulting.
okay,
Why Russian? Why did we choose Russian?
because I had experience with Russian hookers and I thought they're the most incredible women because like they were so hard
Okay.
work. They're so hard working. They're so hard working. Like a lot of them are single, like they have kids, they have no like there's no anybody there and like they're there to take care of their family, you
Mm,
know? It's I don't
yeah.
know. So
No,
that
so you dressed up like a Russian hooker. What was your
yeah.
experience like?
I had a few people that tried giving me money. I had several people confuse me as a woman. And overall had a great experience. I was tucked, clipped, pushed, pulled, tweezed, snapped, all of it, head to toe.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know how we got here, but anyway.
I don't know. I was just thinking, I was talking to one of my friends and one of their roommates hooked up with this uh I don't know how you would describe the person, but hooked up with this person and okay, so my friend was kind of giving their roommate shit like, "Oh, you slept with, like that girl that's got a dick." And he was like, "You know what? That girl's fucking hot. Like, so what if she's got a dick? She's hot. Like, that's a hot girl." And he was like, "So what if, like, when we get naked, there's a dick there that's hot?" I was like, "Okay." Like, I see now that, like, you're like, that's a hot woman,
That's a hot
like,
woman.
with a
Yeah.
dick. Like, you're like, I don't care if there's a dick there or not. Like, I'm attracted to this person.
Oh my
Like,
God.
is kind of what he's trying to
I love,
say.
I will tell you, like, I love, like, when people love to give, people that are trans hate. And here's the thing. First off, trans people, some of the nicest, some of the coolest people I've ever met are trans. That's number one. Number two, some of the hottest, motherfucking gorgeous people I've ever met are trans. And it's like, oh, people are jealous. Okay. They're a little, there's a little envy in there because like they're really fucking awesome people. Some of like, it's just, I don't know. I just love the experience like from all of like community. Like we're talking about like drag queens because there's a lot of there's a lot of trans people that are drag queens today. And it's like, yeah, well, they're not having fake breasts. Like those are actual, but like, I'm happy that they're able to be a part of it, you know, like,
I feel like the drag community is like really blown up. Like
yes, it
just
has.
from my own observation, it's almost like the thing to do. Like if you hit like a certain age and you like that kind of thing and the person has like a community to do it in, it's like bam. Like, and I remember like it being popular when I lived in Iowa, but when I went back, it's been like 10 years since I lived there. When I went back, there was just so much drag. I mean, they do a drag show like almost every fucking night. You can go to a drag show. And I was just like, okay, like it was not like that. And I don't even know. Like, I'm like, that's great. Like, do drag all the time, every day. But like, also, like, wow. Like, we're doing drag every fucking night now. And it used to be like, we'd plan to go to the drag show. Like, it'd be like, oh, yeah, like it was, for me, it was a little bit more exciting because it wasn't oversaturated. But, I mean, everybody
Things,
needs an opportunity.
yeah. I mean, and things have changed. And I think like a lot of the changes personally, I think are a lot more. I don't know why my mic is so far away. I think it's because of my legs. My legs. Um,
My legs.
my legs. And it's kind of just like with it's just kind of like with the culture itself, because like you said, like things have changed and things have gotten more saturated, but at the same time, things have gotten a little more creative, you know, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I was talking about this earlier with Brian. Shout out to Brian K. James from Real Reality Realness podcast. Uh, they're actually on Instagram, so be sure to check them out. Anyway, I was saying that like in back in the day, like 30 years ago, a lot of drag queens, especially black drag queens, they had to make their own foundations and eyeshadows and lipsticks.
Oh, wow.
They had to make them. Like they had to like mix the shit together.
Holy shit. Wait,
Yeah.
Brian told you about this?
Yeah, that's how it was.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because there
Well,
was
I mean,
no
yeah, I feel guilty for not having thought about it. I know that when I worked at Ulta way back, a lot of the girls that worked there would talk shit about men who would come in looking for makeup. And I would go out of my way to go help them pick out things, color matches, the correct type of textures, and the right eyebrow matte colors, and the different textures will work different for different skin types. Some people need a gel, some people need a pencil, different things like that. And I always loved helping them because it was really interesting. But yeah, where I was, there was a lot more white men that were shopping for makeup. So, and I didn't run into that as much, but I did notice that there were certain brands that started expanding their color range, probably around 2007. So I had a little bit more to work with when selling
people
to
people forget
women.
people forget that. And you know something, actually, my sister used to complain about this because I may compare me and my sister were both olive skin tones. She's a lot darker skin than I am, and she had a problem with getting foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Like because like back then you like there was like a little bit of options, for like an olive skin tone, maybe a little bit more for like a dark. But people forget that for so long of our history, being a person of color, photographs, makeup, clothing, it was just like it's kind of just and it kind of just comes back to this again. And it's important to say this is like the black community, the Hispanic community, in general, the queer community that existed in New York as well as in California and so many other places, they helped to really shape the art form. Take so many of the Latin girls, the way that they incorporated flamingo dancing, and incorporated um, Mexican swing and type of music that was coming out in the early '90s. Being able to kind of shape and shift culture, these new dance and new costumes and makeup, and I love it. I love a good performance. That's what I'll tell you. I love a good performance.
Yeah, I know. I some drag is just absolutely incredible.
Yes.
The performance, the entertainment quality of it, the bliss that it can bring you to watch a drag queen perform. It's a high to watch them. Like it feels so incredibly exciting. Um I think that, it'll bring a lot of attention to it. I think that people need to discuss it. I hate how Christianity gets drug into it. People say, oh, Christians hate drag. No, they don't. Christian is a wide range of people. There's a lot of people that fall under that
It's funny
category.
because there's actually religious people that do drag.
Right? Like there, I'm gonna
Yeah,
prove you right wrong. Like there's Christian people in drag. So
I
just like
knew.
shut up
Oh my
about
god,
Christians hating
I
drag. Like I know that there are some Christians that hate drag. There's a lot of different atheists that hate drag too. Like I can't with you. Like stop bashing a religion just to bring up drag. Like come on. Like let's just stop bashing people's religions, like no matter who they are. Like and also whichever Christian is using their Christianity to defend their hate for drag, fuck you.
ooh yeah.
Like I'm so just like stop. Like don't use Christianity to hate. Like just stop it. I don't know, but it's not by choice. I don't get to make you stop. You get to
No, no, but we get to have the conversation. No, we're able to see all of the different options and see all the different perspectives and realize in short that not everything is for everyone. And just like our biological gender is important to our medical professionals and us personally and no one else, the same way our choices of the type of performances that we choose, such as drag and burlesque or something else, is our personal choice. No one should tell us, you know, how we should be enjoying that personal choice. It's the right of freedom. We live in a country that gives us rights, and we should be able to hold them up high when it is needed to be said.
you know how I feel about rights.
I'm a libertarian. I can't fucking help it. Like it's just the way I
I agree
think.
with you. I think that your opinion should be respected. I
Yeah.
think that people's opinions deserve to be heard and respected. It is I'm glad that I have distance from it all. Like I have my peaceful home that I can come to and get away from everyone's disagreements.
Yeah. Um, I have one last question to ask you.
I want to talk like a little bit more. I don't want to go yet. I don't. I want to talk just like a little bit more than just one question.
Okay. How about two questions?
We'll see. We'll see what happens, but sure, let's start.
Okay. So, well, actually, I was thinking of the first question and then I was thinking of the second question. Okay.
Oh, you already know what they are.
Yeah. First question is think of yourself as a parent. Okay. And you're a person that is either, married to a trans person or married to a lesbian or whatever the case may be. You have this kid and you want to raise them in an environment where they are open, to the LGBT community, not to the sexual because they're kids, to like different types of people, different types of parents, different types of kids, be able to be in that type of community with different types of people. Now,
I mean,
if you,
yeah, don't we need to just teach people to just be generally respectful?
I was getting,
But go on.
okay. Now, if they're in, if they're in an environment, for example, if they live in an area where it's not necessarily that is 100% accepted, let's just say it's not very LGBTQ friendly. Okay. Now, their neighbors don't have to accept their opinion, right? We agreed upon this. Okay. My question is like, I don't know. Like, is that a smart move? If you would be somebody, like, would you want to put yourself in living in an environment that's like LGBTQ friendly? Or would you want to live in an environment that's not LGBTQ friendly? But
I mean, does that assume that everybody can move wherever they want
I
and just
guess, yeah,
because I mean, a lot of people just live where they live. They live where their families do. They live, it's hard to uproot yourself and put yourself in a community where your type of lifestyle is more accepted.
it's
And
expensive.
I feel like also like you're gonna more likely run into communities where it's less common, because it is just statistically there's less people raising their children that way. But I feel like that's the biggest issue is that like some people don't choose where they want to be. I think that people should just be seen as people, and that we should stop focusing on if they have one parent, two or two dads or none, or I just feel like we should just look at the kids are kids and they're all just kids with parents, and it's I everybody should be treated equal is what we need to focus on. Like that we need to focus on the differences don't make us less, you know? Um it's just it's weird. I to me, if you teach somebody to be, a kind, accepting person, it's going to bleed into the things that they do. But I guess that's not the case. Again, what works with me doesn't work with everyone. Like not everything works the same for everyone. I mean, we both come from very different upbringings in school. Like our school environments are both very different from one another. We had a life-size teddy bear that came into the classroom and spoke to us and said he was the bad touch bear, and he that was his job, and he was created to come into communities and go into classrooms and say, hey, I'm the bad touch bear. And like, I mean, I don't know what the hell he was called, but like it was his job to create a friendship with you, read you a book, talk to you, and hopefully at the
There
end,
was a man in this teddy bear costume.
or a woman, there was a person in this teddy bear costume, and this bear, its mission and the whole people who created it was to put an end to children being molested, like they were trying to stop it. And what the bear was is the bear would come in and it would make friends with all the kids in the class, and then by the end of the class everyone was allowed to have like a moment to tell the bear a secret if it needed to, so like it was a safe place for a child to confess to a bear because they thought that maybe it'd be easier for the child to confess it to a bear, and then they could look into the situation and see if they could help a child that didn't know that it was wrong to be touched in a bad place, because that's what the bear would do. It would explain what is a good touch and what is a bad touch, and the good friends only touch each other in these kinds of ways, hugs, stuff like that. And then people who are trying to hurt you touch you in that kind of way. And I mean, they did this in a classroom, and it was helpful. So there can be education, and they don't do that anymore, do they? So somebody stopped it, or it wasn't,
I don't know,
as
honey. The
like,
way that you're describing this sounds kind of creepy. I'll be honest with you.
because I'm telling you about weird shit that happened in the 90s. It is kind of strange, isn't it? But I was in like kindergarten, and I remember this like bear costume like person, and I remember like someone saying, "Oh, it's kind of like Barney, how like there's a person in there, or Chuck E. Cheese, like
Okay,
like."
Barney. Okay, Barney was scary. Okay, I'll tell you this. All
I
right.
didn't think Barney was scary. I thought
I
that he
thought
was
Barney was scary.
friendly.
I hated Barney. I was like, get that fucking purple dinosaur the way away, away,
Barney's probably
away.
creepier, like as they changed the Barney costume. I feel like the first Barney was like less scary. He's just like a dinosaur. But then it started to like the costume got like more like carried away, and his face started to look like scarier and scarier. Like
I think they're bringing back Barney.
I mean,
Why? Why? Why
whatever.
are they bringing back Barney?
I have no opinion about bringing back Barney.
I have no opinion either. I just like, why do they put this on my news feed? I was like, I was having a great day and you had to ruin it. I had to share with everyone.
How's your leg, David?
I'm very stoned at the moment, so I don't really feel my leg.
I'm so sorry.
Actually, believe it or not, smoking actually helps because it numbs the fuck out of it. It's like it floats. Now it's floating.
I was at the dispensary yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent way too much money on a cartridge, and it's just dumb. But they were like, if you spend one more dollar, because like I spent like $49 and it was like when you spent 50. She was like, if you spend one more dollar, you can get a free gift. And I was like, oh. And then the manager was like standing there, and he was like, she can just have a free gift. She doesn't have to buy anything that's like a dollar or like more. Cause nothing was a dollar, like nothing's a dollar. I'm gonna have to spend like another like $12 on like a pre-roll, and then I get a free gift. But he was like, she can just have the free gift. And she was like, oh, okay. And so they like wheel out this cart, and it's got like all these like free gifts on it. And like they all suck. And I was like, what the hell? And so I have to pick out of all these things that I don't really want. And I was like, how the hell did they not have like a pre-roll or just like a regular ass gummy? Like they had nothing. So they had like these like tinctures, and then like I don't know what the other shit was. And then I was like, well, what's the thing in the little packages that looks like gummies? I was like, well, what's that? And she was like, oh, those are suppositories. And I was like, oh. And I was like, are they like for your period? And she was like, no. Because
Go on.
I was like, are we actually putting these in our butts right now? Like,
Please don't. Not my butt. Put it in
because
your butt,
like
but not
I
in my
would
butt.
I would put one in my vagina during my period to like not have vagina pain, but I'm not putting an edible up my ass.
How do you
Like,
not know that's not flavored jalapeno? Or like, or muy frío? Like, that shit will just make it go on fire. Like, you don't know the flavor.
I don't want an edible in my ass.
Nobody wants an
Like
edible in their ass, but that's sometimes where people put it. They put it up their butt.
I could see if I was like a legitimate cancer patient with like
Damn.
pain, like when I was sick and I was so congested and it sucked to smoke, like I wanted to just eat an edible. I could see where like if you're like fucking like sick, like nauseated, like and you can't eat an edible like normal, I could see where somebody could put an edible in their ass, like this like suppository that this company has put a lot of effort into creating. Anyways, I wanted to tell you that I saw the weed suppositories yesterday and they were free, and I was like, pass. But it would be so funny. I would love to get like a sponsorship from them and be like, everybody put the weed in your ass.
Put it up your
Start like marketing.
ass. Da da da
Wouldn't it be great?
da.
It'd be such a good company to work for.
What?
Like you'd be like on a first date and they'd be like, so who do you work for? And I'm like, well, I work for this company. We make weed suppositories. They'd be
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, the shit that you shove up your ass, it makes you high. You bum. You bum. You put it up your bum. What did you say more?
Yeah. It's a medical thing.
How do you get it up there? Well, there's a little shooter. You put it in the shooter, you pull the trigger, and it goes right to your
I don't know. I don't know
to
if
the
there was an
prostate.
applicator. It didn't look like there was an applicator.
No
It didn't look
applicator?
like it. Didn't look like it.
You
It
just
looked like
stuff
you
it
were
in
just supposed to
there.
like.
Just bloop,
I have no idea. I didn't
bloop.
buy it. And I
You should
remember.
have. You should have put that shit in there an
No,
hour ago.
no, because then it would be like in my house. I know it was like a waste. Anyways, she was
Yes.
like, I got the tincture. It was like these like weed shots. I don't think I'm ever gonna use it, but I don't know. Maybe we could drink the weed shots when you come here. But honestly, I don't think I want to. Like, I just like a regular edible or like a pre-roll. I'm like, why? You guys are just giving away
You know what we
stuff that
can
people
do?
don't want.
We could take that shit and we could pour it in like a Kahlua coffee.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's kind of a cool
Yeah.
idea. Like use
Yeah.
it to spike something, like make. But remember you said you were like, I don't like alcohol and weed, because I talked about going to that. There was like a live music, cannabis infused cocktail party. And I
Yeah.
was like, we could go. And you were like, oh, I don't know if I want to drink and smoke together. Like, I don't like blending the two a lot.
Yeah, but you told me there were virgin cocktails that
I think
are
they are, but there's no actual booze in there. Oh, wait, Kahlua is booze.
Yeah, I know it's closed booze, but I think you can get Kahlua that's
Just the flavor of Kahlua?
maybe, yeah. All right, I think we should wrap. I think we should wrap up.
David doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
No. Yeah, I think I'm kind of done. No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking kidding. We love you guys and girls and non-binary people. If you love the podcast, come on, give a follow, give a like, go ahead and give a subscribe, and be sure to catch us on the next episode. She'll be out next Sunday. Anyway, before I forget, this is Carissa. Carissa is a makeup artist, a fully licensed esthetician, and pug lover, and candle maker. If you love her, want to learn more about Carissa, you can find her at Carissa the Beautiful. With that, I don't know how to fucking end this.
I don't know. Thanks for listening. Like, thanks for joining today. Next week's gonna be bomb. We got a lot of fun planned for you.
We're not blowing up the podcast, so don't worry.
Home. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I love you all. Bye, David.